Hello, and welcome to this video lecture for COMM 2330 Communication Theory. Our topic for today is what is theory? Let's dive in. When you hear the word theory, you might feel intimidated, or you might be picturing a room full of tweed-wearing professors debating abstract ideas that no one understands. But here's the truth, most of us engage in theorizing every single day. No PhD required. According to John Parrish Sproles, a theory is an explanation for how and why something works as it does in a given circumstance. Let's look at an example to see how you might engage in everyday theorizing. Let's say you and your roommate keep arguing, like a lot. You might come up with an explanation. Maybe they're just grumpy when they're tired, and we mostly talk late at night or early in the morning. Or maybe you think, nope, they're just a butt face, and they would argue with anyone. Believe it or not, both of those are theories. They're explanations for how and why something is happening in a specific situation. So, what makes academic theories different? Well, everyday theorizing is something we all do. Scholarly theories are developed through systematic research methods. They're tested, scrutinized, and revised based on evidence and reviewed by other experts. In other words, scholarly theories are a bit more rigorous than your average "my roommate is a butt face" hypothesis. To understand theory, we first need to understand what a concept is. A concept is basically a classification system, a way of grouping things that share common characteristics. For example, the idea of a species is a concept. We can classify organisms into different species based on shared traits. But theories go beyond just classifying or just creating concepts. They don't just describe what is, they try to explain how and why things are the way they are and how concepts relate. So while species is a concept, natural selection is a theory that explains why we have different types of species and how they evolved over time. So, what are the defining features of a theory? Let's break it down. First, theories provide explanations for events or patterns we can observe in the world. Second, theories go beyond concepts. They don't just sort things into groups, they explain how and why things in different groups or categories are connected. The third, theories should be transferable. They don't just apply to one specific case. Theories should help explain similar patterns in other similar situations. Fourth, theories are simplifications. They offer a way to break down messy, complex phenomena into something we can study and understand. Theories give us a useful but partial picture. And finally, theories are grounded in research, and they're always subject to being tested, revised, or even disproven. There's a common misconception that a theory is just a guess, but in scholarly work, that's not the case. Some theories are well supported by decades of research across different studies and fields. Others are newer and still being tested. Sometimes new research challenges or even proves old theories. That's part of the scientific process: building, testing, refining. Now, not all scholars think about theories in the same way or use them for the same purposes. Some aim to build grand theories, big overarching frameworks that explain many facets of the world. Others focus on smaller, more specific theories that are useful in narrower contexts. Some scholars are interested in explanation. For example, what can explain why people do things that harm their health? Other scholars focus on prediction. For example, can we predict which students are most likely to engage in potentially harmful behaviors like drunk driving? And some scholars are interested in influence or control. For example, what makes a public safety commercial actually change behavior? And here's a big debate. Are theories just reflections of human perception, or do they actually help us uncover truths about the world and the structure of reality? Spoiler, scholars disagree a lot. There are a few major ways that research and theory intersect. First, inductive theories come about when researchers build or generate new theories that is driven by their data and observations. Second, deductive theories describe when researchers are conducting studies to test an existing theory. Sometimes researchers use theory to guide their study design or to frame their research questions. And in applied research, theories are used to achieve specific outcomes. For example, researchers might use a particular theory of behavior change to design a campaign to reduce smoking or promote mental health. In short, research and theory have a dynamic back and forth relationship. Before we wrap up, here are a few helpful metaphors scholars use to explain what theory is and what it does. The first metaphor is theory as a net. As Karl Popper put it, theories are nets cast to catch the world. In this metaphor, researchers are like fishers, and theories are the tools or nets used to catch what we trade in, that is, knowledge. Second, theory as a lens. This metaphor draws our attention to the ways in which theories shape how we see the world. Theories highlight certain features while filtering out others, like glasses that help you focus but also limit your field of view. A third metaphor is theory as map. A map guides you through unfamiliar territory, but it's never the full terrain. It simplifies complex landscapes so you can find your way. A final metaphor is theory as story. Theories are narratives we use to make sense of the world. Like stories, they emphasize certain perspectives and features while downplaying others. They're meaningful, but always partial. Which metaphor makes the most sense to you? That probably gives you a clue about what you think theories are for. So far, we've talked about theories in general, but what makes a communication theory? Well, it's in the name. Communication theories are explanations of how humans create meaning through interaction. Communication theories help us describe, explain, predict, and sometimes influence how communication works in relationships, groups, cultures, and society at large. And in this class, we'll explore a whole bunch of them. As we're closing this video lecture, reflect back and make sure that you can define the following key terms that we've gone over today. Now that we've gone over what a theory is and how theory works, you've got the foundation for thinking like a communication scholar. I'm excited to discuss more during class.